Hi, Chris Malapors with Bushido Leadership. I have a moment or two to send a message out to all the leaders on how leaders should be during this COVID-19 situation. What we're facing as of today, the World Health Organization has just declared this a global pandemic. So there's a heightened level of seriousness. And in the decade that I've spent in healthcare, um, I know that clinical leaders are on top of this. Having spent time in New Hampshire with Catholic Medical Center, taking part in their crisis management trainings, I know that clinical leaders know a lot about a basic fundamental, which is prepare for the worst and expect the best. And that is the complete opposite of what we're being fed by our political leadership and the media as well. And media by and large. I can't paint that broad a stroke with it. The worst trap a leader can fall into during all of this is downplaying. And that's where a leader says, oh, it's no big deal, or oh, it'll be gone. And trying to downplay it as, hey, this is no threat, or everyone's overreacting. That's a problem because the reality is no matter who you are, there is a part of you that's going, I'm a little bit concerned about what's happening right now. And as a leader, it's critical that when you downplay it, you're undercutting your own credibility. And what you're not doing is you're not showing strength and you're not giving your people certainty. The best way to show strength is the lesson from healthcare. Prepare for the worst, but expect the best. That sends that message of strength and certainty, believe it or not, that you're letting people know it's like, as bad as this can get, we have a plan for it and you can count on me. I've got you. Now, there's a second part of this that becomes really critical. And this is for the clinical leaders as well, who I think are mostly bad at this from what I've been able to see. When we see people behaving in a way that we don't want them to behave, and I think for those of us who serve at the bedside and the people in this audience who are those clinical warriors and provide patient care, there are a lot of there's a lot of worry in that population right now of what may happen and the potential of not only getting sick but also having your colleagues be sick and being just short staffed and having to care for a really high acuity patient population. Leaders in this instance, it's critical that you be what you need of your people. If you want your people to stay even tempered, you need to be even tempered. If you witness your people acting out of line or out of alignment or out of integrity, before you take corrective action, the leader must first do the self-check. Leadership is always an inside job, right? Check yourself first and really see, am I modeling the behavior perfectly so these other people can take my cues? And you'll find that there is always something that you can do better. And if you haven't found it, look harder. That's important. Rather than try to chase your people and scold them and tell them to be calm, you're actually putting out a message that you yourself aren't calm and nobody's going to listen to you. The first thing you want to do if you want your people to breathe is you take a breath. It's like Gandhi says, be the change you want to see in the world. The minute you start dictating that behavior and you start exuding that behavior, your people will follow. So if you're in an especially difficult area of leadership where you're dealing with volatility, uncertainty, ambiguity, pay attention to your own behaviors and make sure that you're taking that moment to be mindful, that you're taking stock, you're feeling how you show up for people, and that you're taking perspectives of how are other people seeing me right now. There's a really good chance that if you're seeing difficult behaviors on your team, it's something that's coming up in you that's being reflected onto them. So keep that in mind, and as always, I welcome your comments. Feel free to share this widely. There's some powerful lessons in how we can keep our heads about ourselves during this pandemic. Thank you.